what I have been wanting from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Brutal and bloody, Daredevil Born Again. Welcome to the Triple Take for another quick take for you. Today we're reviewing Daredevil Born Again. I'm Joseph.
I'm Manny.
And I'm Frank.
So we're going to do non-spoil, then we'll warn you again when it will come into spoiler
Fair enough.
territory.
I forgot we didn't do that.
So I'm going to say this, and this is my thing that I've wanted to say from the first moment I've started thinking about the review for this show. This was supposed to be 18 episodes straight up. I don't know what politics came behind it that they decided to split it up into 2 seasons. As it stands as a 9-episode season 1, that's technically we were supposed to get 18 episodes. I am not going to review it as harshly as I would have if this was just made to be just a season 1.
I think that's fair.
In my overall rating, it is an 8 out of 10.
Okay, I can agree with that. I would give it an 8 out of 10 as well. Granted, I disagree in the sense that, I would still rate it as harshly in the sense of, the people creating the show and whether the studio in charge of, putting stuff out, the producers, they're the ones that made that decision. And that decision's on them. If it affects the whole series, that's on them.
See, so taking into that account, I would say if this was just season 1 and I didn't know that there was going to be a season 2 and I didn't know that this was originally the 18-episode slate, I would give it a 7, maybe even a 6.5.
Yeah, as before you guys went into the monologue, I think I'm going to give it a 7. It definitely, maybe over time, I'll be like, you know what, wasn't that bad, I'll give it an 8, but it's just I don't know. There's just certain parts of the show I felt like it's really one specific episode that makes it go from an 8 to a 7.
Which is the bank episode.
Yeah, which is the bank episode. I feel like that was the most pointless episode in the whole show.
I had the luxury of watching it twice. I watched it I watched it once with the 2 gentlemen in front of me, and then I watched it once with my dad. So I got to watch each episode twice. The bank episode made a lot more sense the second time I watched it.
That's fair. I mean, off of first glance, I would have probably written that episode to be shown a little sooner, opposed to later in the sense of
Hopefully I can change both of your minds because it made me realize why it was where it was.
I feel like I know what you're going to say, but let's see.
I want to talk about real quick the story. I believe the story is, again, this is a great written story. What me and Joseph love is when Marvel takes their little galactic threat that's happening, or even Universal, and ground it to what's happening on the streets.
Yeah.
And
that's the most human part of Marvel.
I think this did everything it should have in terms of showing you what is happening on the streets. Because granted, we have these Iron Man, we have Captain America, we have all these different superheroes around, Doctor Strange, everybody. And we don't know what's happening with these grounded level street characters. So I think it did what it was planned to do in terms of showing you what's happening in the streets of New York.
I disagree because I feel like there's so much going on in specific things that should be affecting them that don't even get mentioned in the show.
Such as?
The blip.
Okay.
Well, we're past that. I don't mind it because it's so far away from it.
I think I should emphasize the fact that I don't really know where this is time, where the time frame for the show is. I don't know where it is.
It's after
after Hawkeye. After Hawkeye and Echo.
Yeah, it's after everyone came back. So it's been a few years.
But still, how are you not gonna show at least a little bit on how it affected Daredevil specifically?
I mean, whether he got snapped or not.
Yeah, it's not showing. I'm not saying be so focused on it, but at least show it. Yeah, hint a little bit.
That's fair because then you would, at least from a lawyer.
You don't just forget that.
From a lawyer perspective, in reference to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you have these people trying to get loans and stuff, and their houses aren't really their houses anymore because they were gone. So what would be the legal mess of that? Exactly. I agree.
What else that was happening outside, cosmic level, all that stuff? What did they even mention in the show that even related to that at all?
Look at how we are in the real world, all the crazy stuff going on, and sure, unless you actually look into whatever war is going on the other side of the world, you just hear it in the background. It's does it really affecting you here? Probably not. For the people in that world, those cosmic level threats, is it really affecting them?
For me, I'm okay with them not mentioning it and not having anything to do with it, because the thing is, this happens so far away from it and it already got mentioned multiple times. Granted, would it have been nice to have an episode where it was just what happened during the blimp or how was he affected. Yeah, it would have been nice, but I don't mind it not being there. It doesn't really affect me in any way of them mentioning it and them not. In my opinion, business sense, I don't want to mention it because the Infinity Saga, as we all know, has been miles ahead of the multiverse saga, and I don't want to keep mentioning what I can't top.
You want it to be his own thing. Yeah, but like what I'm trying to say is that I'm not saying like they should have mentioned it, but I'm just saying I disagree with the point that you said that they are showing the effects of it on street level, but it's not.
Well, I was more talking about the other stuff.
That's what I'm trying to ask. Like, what stuff are you talking like?
That's the spoiler thing.
to-
Okay.
I gotta go
that
there.
sounds good. That sounds good.
A way to that they could have segued that in, and throughout Daredevil Born Again, there's a recurring segment of like you get different civilians or citizens were interviewed about certain topics.
Which is one of
In
the
terms of,
which
like,
is the best part. One of the best parts of the show, honestly.
Whatever political motions are going on, it would have behooved them to be like, yo, okay,
Wow,
so
good
how are we gonna deal with the people that came back? Like, what are his policies on that? Like, as a
Exactly.
reference.
Exactly.
Then I could see your point.
Like I said, I agree. I like it, but I didn't mind it. In the characters, just real quick, the characters, I feel like everybody played their role extremely well. I'm going to say this right now. Kingpin carried this show, as he did for the Netflix series. He carried this show. He's my favorite character. And out of all the people that I want to see again, he's the main one I want to see again.
I think this performance was worse than his other ones.
I can agree.
Like-
something, I don't know what it is, but I just love Vincent D'Onofrio's
No.
portrayal of the Kingpin.
It's perfect. Not perfect, but I'm saying like it's a good portrayal. Don't get me wrong. I don't think anybody else could play a live action Kingpin as good as him.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt like in this specific one, he was a little bit too.
Laid back.
No, he was more. He was too manic. Like too. How do you call it? Anxious. Too.
Well, it's like
too. Like he was too twitchy to me. Like that's what it felt like.
But that
That's
plays
fair.
his part. That plays a part in the story
But
and what's going on.
I know that, but I felt like it was a little bit too much.
I-
I felt like it was unnecessarily much.
Again,
he was
I
in
agree.
charge, but he wasn't in control.
Yeah, but that plays to like what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like I felt like the little things, the little what do you call those?
Spasms.
Yeah, little spasms, little ticks that he does and stuff. Like I felt like he did it a lot more than before, and it was a little bit too much for me. Like I almost just like okay, like
Move on.
yeah,
Okay.
they emphasized it with the camera angles and all that, like a little bit too much. And then when he spoke, it was just like a little bit. It just felt like too much.
I felt like it was forced.
Yeah, it felt almost forced. Like it's almost like they needed to put it in.
Other than that, I think the supporting characters did their job. I like Daredevil in this show. I like the battle within himself that's played throughout the entire show. Personally, there's just stuff that like I feel that they did correctly. So other than that, I don't know what else is there to say besides the spoilers are coming.
Oh, I don't. Let's get into the spoilers.
All right,
you started off, brother,
The
'cause
spoiler warning. Boop boop boop. 3, 2, 1.
Spoils.
No, I thought you did the Norman is Black thing. I thought you had something.
Oh no, I was gonna tell you to do it because you seem like well okay.
He's still blind.
Kingpin's the mayor. I'm just.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I think like people kind of can assume that without even watching the show.
Yeah.
But I understand you not wanting to.
All
do
the
it.
leaks were
So,
true.
so the problem that Frank had before about the blimp and everything.
Oh yeah. Touch on that, please.
So, what was the biggest point in this show, in my opinion, was the events of Echo, Hawkeye, and No Way Home.
No Way Home. How?
Because No Way Home is mentioned very briefly. Remember, Matthew Murdock was the one that helped Spider-Man in that moment in No Way Home. He was his lawyer. He doesn't know him anymore. From the events of No Way Home at the end, he made everybody forget who Peter Parker was.
Yes.
He knew Peter Parker. He knew Spider-Man. So now when Kingpin goes on the air and he says that we're done with all these mass vigilantes and stuff, and you're mentioning Spider-Man, you could see maybe like a little tweak in Daredevil. If you rewatch the scene, I watched it twice. When he says a spider, you see the little tweak in like Daredevil as if they met already. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty good with that. Obviously, the Echo playing a part with the shooting of Kingpin.
That scar on his head. Yeah.
The scar on his head and him disappearing, which led to Vanessa taking over the Fisk business.
That's probably like the most relevant thing.
And then
Yeah.
Hawkeye, with the fact that he was defeated, some of the stuff in Hawkeye was mentioned as some of the stuff he was doing on the outskirts to then becoming this political figure. It's slowly woven into the story. I think they did a great job. That's why I'm not too mad with the blimp.
No, understandable.
Blip.
But it's just the way
Like
you
the
made
blimp.
it. The way you framed it was just like, oh, this cosmic level threat. How's this affecting the lower level people? But you were speaking more like how do the lower level stuff all connect?
Yes,
Okay,
because
I agree with that. Yes.
because this I'm already shying away from the whole multiversal thing that's happening right now because nobody really knows
I'm not
what's
gonna lie,
happening.
we needed a break from that.
Nobody really knows what's happening because if you think about it, the last multiversal thing we had was Doctor Strange.
Yes.
And Doctor Strange just left. Nobody knows about that. Nobody should know about that on the street level.
Technically, it was No Way Home.
Technically, yes, but I'm saying
But-
like in terms of
Yeah, I
the
know.
threats and multiversal nonsense.
Like that was the main concept.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange left. Nobody should know about that unless somehow, some way, somebody saw Cleo and Doctor Strange jump into the portal.
Well, I mean, the only one who would know would be Wong.
Yeah,
Whatever
But
he's
not
currently
gonna say
doing.
nothing to nobody. Maybe Shang-Chi. Who knows? I don't know where he is now.
So
but.
that's why I'm just like, it didn't need to incorporate the multiversal stuff. It did what it needed to do in terms of focusing on the street level people, which Spider-Man is now. You can already see that he's going to be more street level, instead of the cosmic threat that we had, the cosmic superhero in Infinity War.
I think that's the whole point of him being in the Infinity War saga. It's like just a regular dude. Like, whoa, I have to deal with this crazy thing.
No,
That's the whole point of his character, right?
That's why I'm saying it's now we're gonna get the leader because he's gonna be the leader of the street. You know what I'm saying?
Which honestly, they set him up for that really well in No Way Home. Because the only thing he was missing, I say this all the time, the only thing he was missing is losing a significant person in his life to really decide what kind of Spider-Man he wants to be. Like, he needed that dynamic shift of like to be able to be a leader. He needed to have his Uncle Ben moment, right? Which is obviously for him is Aunt May, but.
Yeah, which to this day is still, to me, the best scene in all of the MCU is him having his whole world brought down
That's why that movie's so
and
great.
coming to terms with it.
And then Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire showing up and telling them, bro, we've been there.
No, because they know they've been there worse than him. I mean,
Well,
technically, if you think about it,
They are him. They are him.
They are him.
No, I'm saying no, but I'm saying they did it worse because Tobey Maguire technically did
At
the
that
job.
point,
did the job, and when it is-
point, he had lost Uncle Ben. He lost Harry. He lost
because they're older, so they've been through it more than him, obviously.
Aunt May. He
Doc
almost
Ock.
lost Aunt May like 3 times.
Doc Ock, Goblin.
Yeah.
He's been through all that already.
So Toby is the Spider-Man has been. I mean, we don't know where Andrew is at this point. to be
Andrew
honest,
just lost Gwen.
but- No, but we're basing it off the movies, but obviously in that point in time, he's way farther along than that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
so we don't know.
Andrew said that he, as a character, as a Spider-Man, he wasn't holding his punches.
Yeah, because after Gwen died,
Yeah.
yeah,
But-
or maybe even after something else, but either way.
The story that's being told in this, I said I liked. I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole Kingpin being the mayor, leading the charge,
Yep.
trying to somehow bend the lines between being a good political figure to manipulate so that way he could continue to flourish his business.
What do you mean? He's a good political figure if he does that.
Some might say that's exactly what a political figure does.
Another big point in this, Bullseye. I love Bullseye.
Nah, the opening scene is the best part of the entire show.
The
Nope,
best,
I disagree.
the best part for me,
I disagree, but that's a top tier part though.
That's
It's a top tier part.
Yeah.
best part of what the MCU needed was just the weight of injury.
Oh, yeah,
Like
no.
the brutality of it is what I needed.
It was what Manny's getting to it because it's street level. That's what street level does. And that's why he said that. Yeah. So
It's
we
different
definitely
from
agree.
it's different from how you would say the cosmic level threats are, to where it's like
It seems too big.
superpower versus superpower.
It seems too big
what
to
I'm
really
saying?
cause any
These
weight.
these are being honest. These are just basic superhuman abilities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The bank thing. I'm gonna go over that real quick. So the reason that had taken place so where it was is because when the Luca guy, the Irish guy, he was trying to get the money to pay off Kingpin. So that episode is where it is to show you he was trying to get that diamond, right? At the same time, he was gonna get that diamond not only to pay the money back, but he was also gonna use it to persuade others to join him.
Yep.
So the reason that's where it is because you obviously see that scene where Kingpin and him are talking and he tells him, now you owe me 2.8 billion because of the disrespect. That is where it is because that's what it's more of. You needed to show the little side story of him trying to overpower the Kingpin in the state that he's in.
See, I understand that, but I felt like it shouldn't have been a whole episode.
I agree with that.
Like, it could have been easily half an episode, and it would have done the same thing.
I can see that. Yes. I don't know. There's something about it that like. I just enjoyed the fact it wasn't the longest episode. Obviously, it's the shortest runtime between all the episodes.
Thank God.
So,
I mean, it showed. My favorite part about the bank episode is that it wasn't Matt Murdock saving the day as Daredevil. It was Matt Murdock
Saving as Matt Murdock, yeah.
as Matt Murdock.
that's another thing I wanted to mention is the fact that he's again, that fighting that inner self of being Daredevil again, where this episode shows you. Remember how Spider-Man, it was like, I don't need to be Spider-Man to make a difference. That was the other side of it, is the fact that he doesn't need to be Daredevil to make a difference. He just works from the shadows as just Matthew Murdock.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what his whole lawyer thing is supposed to be.
So
right?
that also played another factor. That's why I think the bank thing made a little bit more sense the second time I watched it. Granted, I do agree with Frank. It could have been condensed in like 15 minutes.
Bro. That's the only thing I have. I understand everything, why it all happened. I'm just like, bro, but like, why are you dragging this out for like him talking to the cop? It was just like, why? Like, why does this need to be like 5 to 6 minutes, bro?
The only thing you need to do is literally just the bank, introduce Kamala Khan that she's around,
Yep.
which I love that. I love that she's now street level instead of the Marvels where she was cosmic level.
Like yeah, 100%. What I think about when I think about the show, really, is that part, the bank part, what brings it down for me. And like the fact that this dude, what's his name? The serial killer guy?
Muse.
But they did not give him enough screen time, bro. They just did not. In my opinion, you say Kingpin was your favorite part of the show, and like honestly, I can't disagree, but not because you're right, but not because I'm happy to say that.
No, because you would have preferred it to been a new character.
No, not even that. It's just like none of the characters' performances, in my opinion, stood out. Like probably the best performance that stood out was Hector Ayala.
Which is the
White Tiger.
The White Tiger.
The White Tiger and Muse, which is the shortest screen
What
time
about
characters. Bullseye, it was okay. Because then again, he didn't get that
Frank?
much screen time at all.
Frank?
Again, he was way better in the show. Like honestly, compared to the show, But you know what I'm saying?
But remember, you don't want him to overpower.
Exactly. Like you want, but like then, in my opinion,
he was the coldest person in that whole entire room.
100%.
Do what you gotta do.
Like the fight with him, with the fight in the apartment with him and Daredevil, that's probably your top tier moment.
That's my top tier moment.
100%. Like I can understand that, but it's just that the fact that it felt like all the other characters were trying to die down to match Daredevil, and I don't like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm not saying the Matthew Murdock dude is a bad actor, but it's just like, I just felt like the way the story was going and the way they fleshed out like his battles, I felt like it could have been better.
You're saying they lessened the other people to make sure that they didn't overpower Daredevil.
Yeah,
so it had to match where Daredevil was, and since he wasn't as good of a character as we've seen him before,
yes,
it lowered the other people.
Because I felt like because they did that, actually made his character worse. Because the reason that makes Spider-Man so good is because all of this is going on around him. It's so crazy. It makes his character even better because he has to deal with that. And the way he deals with it is crazy, right? Whereas where Daredevil was just like, they kept him on this teetering point of like, should I go back, should I not? Specific moments, obviously. Hector Ayala and then like at the end, right? Or when Muse captured the girl. Those are the most craziest. But if that whole season was filled with those moments, it would have made that struggle even better. You know what I mean? It would have made his character shine more.
See, I'm playing.
Devil's advocate. Go ahead.
Yeah, in saying that again, this is the first part of the season that was supposed to be 18 episodes, so it's hard for me to say that.
Yeah, but I said, they made those decisions.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I believe they made those decisions just because. This is just my theory. I think that they thought 18 episodes was too much to digest.
Maybe for like 40-minute episodes, I can understand why they would think that.
I could be wrong, but
it'll be the longest show.
I think that's more of just they'll drop it in between one of the movies, just so you have Marvel to be.
But the thing is,
the
thing is, I understand what you're saying, but like he already took the mantle back up, right? So, like, you can't really do that anymore. Like, him struggling, but he already decided that he's going to be Daredevil again, basically.
Yeah.
So like, you can't, the rest of the seasons is not going to be that struggle anymore. Or, like, as much as it was before. So, it's just like, I'm not going to lie to you, like, the Foggy dying in the beginning had way less impact than I would have assumed it would have had. Because you could see him struggling with it. but it's just like it didn't really pop up as much as I thought it would. I can understand why you would disagree because that's based because you're kind of like just thinking about this hovering over him, right? You're just assuming it. To me, it felt like it wasn't brought up enough.
I would disagree with that point only because the first part of the episode, he dies. All the way you keep going, he's trying to figure out why did he die. You get to the later episodes where it's like episode 8 and 9, where you find out that it was a hit on because of Vanessa, and then he the whole time he's thinking Kingpin did this, and he forgot that Vanessa had taken control. So I feel like it was there and it kept coming back. I feel like did it have as big of an impact as I would have wanted? No, but it was there.
I mean, it was, like I said, it was there, but I felt like it didn't have as big of an impact. And like you see the moments when he's going crazy, like when he fights the Punisher fanboys in the apartment.
Yeah,
he goes crazy because he beats him up.
No, he just doesn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, but like he snaps. He snaps. Like that's the moment he snaps. That's probably one of your favorite parts
He snapped that guy's arm.
Yeah, I mean.
But
it's compelling to have a character and their morals and they're fighting within themselves to then break and snap and have those moments.
And he did it a bunch of times, but it almost felt like it took too long. Like it was too spaced out. Like he you could tell he was trying to hide it. He was doing a good job in the beginning, and you saw Kingpin and all these other people kind of breaking that mold a little bit. But I felt like Matthew Murdock isn't a emotionally capable person in this time. That his emotions are terrible from the beginning. The whole reason why he became Daredevil in the first place was because of anger. So it's just like I felt like they kind of died that down in this part. All the things going on, all the things that he got to deal with, made no sense that it would be like that because it should have sent him over the edge even more. I don't know. I just felt like it lacked a lot of things, in my opinion. The show.
Me personally, I feel like it's a great show. Like I said, I judge it based on the fact that it's a part of an 18-episode series. Like, if I was judging it based on what I got without knowing that information, then it would obviously change it. I do like everybody in the show. I don't know. Maybe I'm just Marvel biased right now, but to me, it's the best Marvel show.
It ain't the best Marvel show, but
that's what I said to me.
I know.
No, you're good.
That's fine.
I disagree, but I didn't say nothing.
I mean, it got me to want to watch the original Netflix shows that I skipped out on. Mm-hmm. Daredevil, Punisher. Shame on me. I don't really care, but I'll get to it eventually, like Punisher's I usually
really
do.
Good,
Punisher is amazing.
Punisher's the best.
Yeah, no. That Punisher, just him screaming as he's just going at it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? More power to you. Yeah. I'll continue watching it. I mean,
no, yeah, for sure.
I enjoy it, even though I was half asleep most of the time. I enjoyed it.
I don't even know where they're gonna go from here, to be honest. But
yeah, like I can't really guess, and I'm just looking forward to see what they give me. Hopefully,
I'm
not disappointed, but
I don't think you
I'm
will
on the
be.
same boat as you.
I don't think you both will be.
That's how I felt about Star Wars.
I mean, Joseph's gonna get it spoiled.
Star Wars sucks.
I am gonna get it spoiled
so
because ain't no way that I saw that apartment fight scene literally like a month and a half before it happened.
Before the show even came out.
Make that make sense.
Marvel,
do better with your leaks.
I have a good idea of where this show's going. I truly believe that you guys will enjoy. If executed correctly, I believe you guys will enjoy it, and I think this will go down as a top tier Marvel show.
Okay, I can be open to that.
So, what did you think about season 1 of Daredevil Born Again? I'm Manny.
I'm Frank.
Yeah, I'm Joseph.
Peace.